Hello everybody, this is Jonathan Hughes on week three's videos for group three. The first question is, according to White in the command show text, what kinds of pollution create hazards where we live? Well, there's many different forms of these pollutions. Some can be from factories, some can be you know, from trash, some can be subways, some can be in many different forms. And where I live, actually in Ashland, Kentucky, which is on the corner of Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky, there are several factories. We have AK Steel, which of course creates steel products. We have a Ashland refinery, which is a huge oil refinery, um, and a solvent plant, and several different um, factories, and all of these put out chemicals and a haze and coal dust, and we have a coke plant also um, that creates that coal dust. And that's definitely a type of pollution that can be created. This can change demographically, and some of the reasons for that would be either the means or the lack of means to deal with this appropriately in certain areas, the lack of knowledge, um, and even apathy, just a lack of community tie. Nobody cares enough to take care of it. And this attitude is somewhat, I guess, more common in some of the lower socioeconomic classes, to where that lack of community is, and the closer you get into urban areas tend to be people that are just passing through. They might work at these factories temporarily, and they don't have the community ties. They don't necessarily care to fix these pollutions. And that's also true in our area. We have a lot of out-of-town workers, and there is some of the pollution that comes with that. Uh, with the Bookchin reading, the question was, what is an ecological society? Um, and he goes in kind of reminding me a little bit of Leopold, in that kind of a purist view of it, and just very passionate. It's a little bit harder to read than the prior articles, I guess, or maybe my attention span was less, but nevertheless, it was a little bit more difficult. But an ecological society is one that kind of just a society that the way I took it's kind of like a minimalist view. They're there living and creating things themselves, not buying into the whole uh, factories and chemicals, and um, almost kind of like hippie gathering. There's this group that gets together called the Rainbow Gathering, and they live in pretty much tent cities, and they barter and trade with chocolate and many and sundry different things, made jewelry, made clothes, um, teas, coffees, whatever that it might be. They barter with these things, and they completely, um, I guess, resist the normal way of life and the normal government, and they live off the land. And that was kind of what I thought was a good example of what Bookchin was talking about this week. But that's all I've got for this week's readings, and it was another good week. I look forward to seeing what my classmates have to say about it. And thanks for listening.